Hello everybody and welcome to another video about anxiety. As you can tell I am driving but everything is hands-free, so things are looking really good. Just wanted to make a video. I haven't been on this channel for a while. I've been working on a lot of stuff of my own on my end here for the last little while, so I thought I'd come and give you a bit of an update on what's going on with me. I do know that I have a few new subscribers, some of which I've met personally, some of which I haven't, so if you're new to this channel I'd like to take a second to thank you and welcome you to this channel. What I've been focusing on and what I'm going to talk about in this video is basically a lot of what I've been talking about up to this point, but I'm going to build on some stuff that I've really learned in the meantime. And it's basically tools that I now have that I'm still working on. Please don't think I'm an expert, because I'm not. There's still times when I kind of get caught off guard here and there. And and I have to keep myself honest about what's happening. Um, so anyway, I've said in previous videos that I do have OCD, and to give those who are new to the channel who haven't seen one of those videos yet, what OCD is, and this is my description. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, anything like that, psychologist. Um, but this is my definition, basically, of OCD, is where I'm scared of my thoughts. And a lot of people, I think, are in this boat, and they have a tendency to be scared of these things, but not really know that that's what it is. Because a lot of people, what they think OCD is, as I did, was where you basically continue to do certain things or think of certain things or keep checking on certain things. And what that is it's actually a way of controlling the thoughts. And so what you're doing, and I think probably the most common, is where you hear of people who are constantly making sure everything's lined up perfectly, or you have people who are constantly washing their hands because they think they still have germs or something dirty on them, right? And what that is, what that compulsion is a way to alleviate or suppress, or I guess another word could be even amuse those thoughts. And if I just amuse the thoughts, they give me a break, even temporarily. Another one that may be done is where somebody's always checking the locks to make sure they lock the doors. You get upstairs, you get in bed, all cozy, ready to fall asleep, and all of a sudden your brain kicks in and says, "But are you sure you locked the doors? Like really sure? Let's be sure. You locked the doors." And so then this person would get up and check again, did I lock the doors? When sure enough they did. But it's that thought that keeps popping into their head that says, "But are you sure?" Because if you're not sure, I think there's still something you can do. And so the compulsive part is to alleviate those thoughts. Now, what I've learned in my time understanding OCD a little bit better is that there's two types of OCD from what I've been able to understand. The first one is the physical compulsion. Again, washing your hands, locking the door, something like that, right? The other one is the one that I tend to have a little bit more of, and that is more of the cognitive OCD, where I'll get a certain image in my head or I'll think of a certain thing and I'll be scared of that thought. And I'll keep visualizing that picture over and over and over again. And it puts me in such a freaked out state that I can't seem to shake it. And what's interesting about that is I was actually at a point where I thought all I really had was panic attacks. Realizing after, in a couple of videos that I've made, that I also had OCD, have OCD. And so what I was doing to get rid of my panic attacks based off the research that I've done, and it was working, was actually strengthening my OCD. I'd put myself in a position that I thought would freak me out, even though I knew it wasn't dangerous, and I'd be like, "Look, I'm doing it, I'm fine, ready, I'm good, see, look what's happening." And so by doing that, I was actually trying to prove to myself that I was fine, and I'd be like, "Okay, so my panic attack is good," but it was actually strengthening my OCD. So it was actually doing the counter effect to my OCD, because what it was doing was giving it strength. no, 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 but what if, right? And then these thoughts would keep powering up. Look, I'm already in the position. I'm fine. Let's move on, right? So what I found out is I had to use a completely different tool that I didn't even know about, even though it'll sound simple when I tell you what it is. I had no idea what it was, and it's a matter of keeping it consistent, and so this will work for OCD. I found out as well that it also kind of separates it from the panic attacks, and there's different things that you can do to actually alleviate the panicky feeling. So first of all, I'll tell you the tools about the OCD, and then I'll talk about the tools here for what I realized with panic attacks. And by using them both, I've been able to do things that actually used to scare me up to this point. So first of all, because this OCD, this anxiety, as I've said in previous videos, is kind of like that annoying little person that won't leave you alone, that just almost pokes you with a stick all the time. Hey, you have to separate them in your brain. That voice is not you. That voice is somebody in your head trying to constantly keep you on guard. It's like a false alarm. And if you keep hitting snooze, the alarm's going to keep going off, even if you don't want it to. We've all been in that position. If you've ever hit the snooze too many times, it keeps going off, right? So what you have to do, and this is what I'm currently working on, is you actually have to put yourself in a position of saying one of two things. You can either look at the situation and say, you know what, sit down and shut up, all right? You're not driving this train, let's go. I've even gone to a point of getting a little bit vulgar with my OCD. I figure it has no holds barred against me. Why should I have holds barred against it? And so I've sworn a little bit to it. And it's actually made me feel a little bit more empowered when I've done it. So if that works for you, great. If not, okay, great. And so what you end up saying is, you know what? Thanks for sharing. Shut up. No, you know what? No, you're not still talking. Shut up, right? And one little tip I learned, and my wife actually pointed this out, is she said, when I was in New York, and I was having some anxiety about being in New York, never been before, kind of a different level of panic and stuff. Anyway, so I was constantly looking at it going, shut up, shut up, shut up. And then my wife said, well, why don't you leave your OCD in the lobby for the meantime and just go enjoy Manhattan? Just don't bring it with you. And although that sounds simpler than it is, and believe me, it wasn't simple, and it still isn't simple. Although it sounds easy, it's not simple. Two different words, right? Basically, what you're doing is you're basically saying, this is happening. You don't have to say anything else. Let's just call it. And you stay here. I'm going to keep doing my thing. So what I ended up doing was almost tearing myself away from the OCD temporarily. And although it still stayed with me, it wasn't near as strong as it was a few minutes ago, before when I was doing this. So that was one angle where I could just say, you know what, shut up, just go, you're staying in the lobby. I'm going to go downtown New York, and I'm going to enjoy the sights and the scenes and stuff. Even though I've never done it before, I know it's a big city, whatever. But I'm going to do this. You can just stay here and do nothing. So the constant shut up, just shut up and stop doing it, right? Or the other angle is when you think of a certain thought, let's say it's, oh, are you sure you locked the door? Well, if I didn't, I didn't. Or, yeah, it's possible something could happen. And just leave it there. And it sounds like it sounds simple, but if you're anything like me, the first time I heard it, I'm like, I honestly don't know if that's going to work. Is that all that it requires? And it's not going to feel like it'll work at first. But the more consistent you are with it, the better you become. The more you really just got to stick to it. And I know that sounds redundant, but think about it this way. Your anxiety, your panic attacks, OCD, generalized anxiety, whatever you're dealing with, is consistent. It does not back down. Neither can you. You are stronger than your anxiety. And I'm realizing that now. And if you're like me, you're always kind of sitting there going, okay, when do you get a hit again? Because it always seems to come back. But I want you to think about it this way. You are stronger than your anxiety, although it doesn't feel like it right now. And the more consistent you are with it, telling it to shut up or just saying, you know what, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. So what? I'm not going to die from it. Let's move on, right? What you're doing is you're taking the power away from it. Because it wants to keep just getting to the point of keeping you at that alert stage when there's really nothing to be alert about. And you're constantly just like, hey, what if? Well, if it is, it is. And just leave it there. Just leave it there. So know that it will not happen overnight, but it will eventually get easier. It's like muscle memory. The more you do it, the better you get. So stick with it and just worry about it when it's meant to be worried about. Don't worry about it right now. Tell it to shut up. I'll worry about that later. There's nothing I can do right now to control it. So I'm done. And that's it. Leave it there. Don't try and argue with it more. Don't try and give it the time of day. Catch yourself battling it in your head. This is what I've been doing lately. Okay? So the other thing I said I was going to talk about. Once you've actually dealt with that and you're actually starting to negate the thoughts a little bit about how to fix it, what you can then do for the panic attack feeling is breathe. And I know I've said this before, but I have a different way of doing it now. Because what I was doing was actually opposite. Again, it was working for my panic attacks, but it wasn't working for my OCD. So here's the way I want to break it down in your brain in the hopes that, because this is the way it's in my brain, so I'm hoping it works for you. If you think of each blood cell in your body like a boiling pot of water, you filled the tank up high, or the pot up high, and the heat's on all the way. And you've been dealing with this for a little while now, and it's to the point where the water's about to boil over. Okay? I hope you can get that visual in your head. That is basically what your blood cell is doing with the oxygen in the cell. It's that water that is filled up to the top of the pot, that any more oxygen that is brought into your system will boil over. So anytime you're sitting there and you just get this, right? What did I do there? I just inhaled a bunch of oxygen. So what that does is it boils over the pot. Now, the question is, how do I empty a little bit of water out of that pot before it gets to the point where it's going to boil over? And this is what you got to work on. This is what I've been working on. And I'll tell you this, I might actually, you know what? I think after this, I'm going to make a video on what I've been saying to myself to help myself fall asleep at night, because I've woken up in some panic feelings, and using this tactic that I'm about to share with you, I've actually put myself back to sleep many times and stay asleep. And no medication required. It's all what I've been doing in my own head. So what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, and think of an inhale as, or basic inhale, an average inhale is roughly about 4 seconds. Okay? So you're sitting there and you're going 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, right? And every inhale is about 4 seconds. What you're doing when you're inhaling is you're putting oxygen into your bloodstream. So what you need to do from there is you need to exhale twice the amount that you just inhaled, if not more. So at first, and I'll tell you right now, your instinct is going to be like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, and then you're going to want to inhale. But this is where you're actually going to have to go 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, right? And actually exhale that air out and actually stay with it. So you want to at least go to 8 Mississippis. If you're inhaling 4, you want to go to 8. If you're inhaling 5, you want to go to 10. Okay? So you want to exhale twice the amount that you're inhaling. What that's going to do is it's going to take that boiling water and it's going to empty the pot a little bit. There's still going to be some oxygen in there. There's still going to be some water in that pot. But if it's boiling, it's not boiling over. And that's that panic feeling, is that boiling over. So even if you get into a panic mode where you're like, what? And you just take that sudden inhale of oxygen, what you're going to do is you're just going to fill that water, that pot up with a little bit more water, but then you exhale, exhale, and you're going to bring that water down. And there's no limit to say how far you can bring it down. Obviously, you're not going to run out of oxygen. You're always inhaling. You're always going to have just the right amount of oxygen, but it's not going to be to the point where you're overdoing it, right? Which is what the panic feeling is. So I hope that helps. Some tips that I've been using over the last little while. I understand that this is a bit of a longer video, but there's some really good tips that I've been using in order to help myself get to where I am. I just went on a work trip, and a lot of the stuff that would normally put me in a panic state didn't. I was actually in a decent mode to maintain, and I was still waiting for it to hit. It never did. It never did. So these tools work, and like anything that's hard, you're going to have to stick with it and just stay consistent. Okay? So anyway, I'll leave this one here. I think I'm going to do another video here moving forward on meditation and what I've done again. I've said to myself, I've done to put myself back to sleep in a panic state in the hopes that you can use it. So that even when you're trying to fall asleep at night, I can hopefully, using a video of course, help put you to sleep in a panic feeling. That'd be actually a really cool thing to do. So, all right, I'll leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's been a while. Again, thank you to the new subscribers, and I want to take a second and say thank you for those who have been with me for the run. So far, it's been good. If you know of anybody that can help, this will help. Please, please, please feel free to share it. This is free. We're all in this together. I'm not making money off this at all. So anything we can do to help each other do this, let's do this. There's no commission here. I'm not doing that for this. I'm doing it because I've actually had some success with anxiety. I know what it feels like. I want to keep building on it, and I want to help you. It's my responsibility to help you get there. So anyway, you can leave your comments below. I will respond to them as soon as possible. And hopefully we can get through anxiety together. All right, I'll leave it there. Talk to you soon.